Hey everyone, Coops here from the whole Box and Dice Dragon Ball Super deck tech for you all today, and we're going to be doing the Draft Box Frieza. Bionic Frieza is our leader, but we're going to be playing the Vegito package with the 4-drop extra card Potara. I saw a Facebook post just yesterday, I think it was, talking about how is this card being used, how can it be used better. I think this is the best deck for it. If cards like Cell and to a lesser extent Set 1 Beerus Leader didn't exist, it'd be a lot easier to Potara from the field, but you still have things like Sun Goten Family of Justice and Guldo to tap down your low drops. But whilst those cards exist, and certainly Cell is very much a part of the meta, it's very hard to get off a Potara from the field. So this 4-drop extra card, which we can reduce the cost of with our leader, gives us a very viable strategy in terms of just pulling off crazy turn 2 wins out of nowhere, seeing 30 cards of your deck and beating them down with the 7-drop. But let's jump straight into it. We'll start off with the leader. This is the Bionic Strike Mecha Frieza. When you activate an extra card, you may choose one card in your life and add it to your hand. If you do, reduce the energy cost of that extra card by 1. And then on the flip side, it reduces the cost by 2 by also taking a card. I will just say, I saw, I think it was ARG Orlando maybe, they were ruling that if you didn't have a yellow card in hand and you bad ringed from life, and didn't draw a yellow card off that, you would get a game loss. I think that is just a massive overreaction to how this should be played. You obviously still have to pay the yellow, but the spell should just fizzle. You should just be, you just unsuccessfully cast Bad Ring Laser. The idea that a game loss was handed out just seems like insanity to me. You definitely should have been able to luck sack it. But talking about extra cards, let's look at Potara, the Kai Secret. This is a 4 of in our deck. Activate main, choose one each of Son Goku and Vegeta from your hand and place them in the drop area. Choose your deck or drop area, so pay attention to that. Choose up to one Vegito with an energy cost of 6 or less from the chosen area and play it. If you choose your deck, shuffle it afterwards. Obviously makes sense. How do we get the targets out of our hand for Potara, the Kai Secret? Well, we're running pretty much just a whole bunch of vanillas that we can combo for 5k, so we can get them into the graveyard super quickly. Running 4 copies of the Set 2 15k Blue Vegeta, and we're running 2 copies of the 20k Vanilla Set 1 Vegeta. Running 4 copies of the Search Goku, the blue one. This could be any Goku in blue. That is a free to combo card. And 2 copies of the Crit Goku from Set 2. And that is it. They are the 6 cards of both Vegeta and Goku that we are running to enable this Potara. I know you think that's insanity. How can you get by with 6 targets? Trust me, when you're winning on turn 2, 6 targets is enough, and it's a big enough of a buff as well for your big 7-drop to go through. Running 3 copies of the 5-drop Lightning Speed Vegito. It has Potara for 3, so that's from the field. Place this card on top of a Goku and Vegeta, so you would get to attack with both those cards first if you wanted to. It does have the ability to attack battle cards that are in active mode, which is great for clearing blockers. And then at the end of battle, after this card attacks, place 10 cards from the top of your deck in your drop area. Then choose up to one Vegito with 25,000 power from your drop area and evolve it. So huge opportunity to obviously play the 7-drop. And we're running 4 copies of that. Great way to cheat this card out. 25,000, 7 cost, 1 red, repeated force Vegito, Potara's for 5, triple strike, and when this card attacks, you get 5,000 power for each Son Goku and Vegeta in your drop area for the duration of the turn. So how do we enable these insane turn 2 setups? Well, we're running 4 copies of Sensu Bean in the deck. This is a great way that we can cast Sensu Bean from our life, refresh the energy that we've been currently using, and just keep that momentum going. Running 4 copies of Objection. I love that you can turn 1 Objection in this deck. Sometimes you hit 2 Objections on turn 1 and you are just laughing at that point. Running 4 copies of Encouraging Presence Monaka. Everyone knows how good this card is. The fact that if you are on the if you're on the draw, you can draw a card, use Encouraging Presence Monaka, give your leader double strike. We want to be getting our opponents down to 4 life as quick as possible so we can start attacking them with our Potara. Now, obviously this deck is Glass Cannon. We are looking to win very quickly. We do have the ability to go later on in the game if we don't have the pieces, but we do want to make sure when we are ready to pull the trigger that our attack goes through. So we do run 4 copies of Crusher Ball. This is a great way to slow our opponent down, especially take blockers offline if we're either going to kill them next turn or look to remove those blockers by attacking them with our leader. Running 3 copies of Bloodlust, you obviously look to mull for cards like this if you feel like the matchup is going to be a little bit dicey. In saying that though, cards like Cell, or leader cards like Cell, you can actually beat them before they, turn 3 Cell chain you. But it is nice to even just Bloodlust things like a Boo turn 1, just to be able to, as a tempo play to help you awaken. We're running 4 10k pumps, our leader is yellow, so that makes sense. Plus, we do need a whole bunch of yellow cards so that we can run successfully 4 copies of Battering Laser. Just the 1 yellow, but as an additional cost, you do have to, pitch a yellow card from your hand and you target counter. So when you go to swing in with your big 7-drop Vegito, when they're on 3 life and they negate the attack, pull a Battering from life if you tap down, and you're off to the races and you're getting through for 65, 70k, triple strike, kill shot on turn 2. So probably not the deck you were all expecting. Just want to go through some of those interactions. So you have 6 targets for Goku and Vegeta. And, initially I think we started off with 8 targets for this deck. Oh, by the way, huge shout out to Phillips. Pretty much came up with this idea. We've been working on it for a pretty long time now. Just kind of working through the different builds and the different kind of ways that you can best maximize it. We had a GB original list and probably had a few more cards. I think we had 8 targets to start off with. We just worked out that you don't actually need them, and it's more important to be able to either ramp quicker with Objection or have access to Sensu Bean, or even just have those extra counterplays cards like Lust and Crushable, as well as having access to the 4 Batterings. I mentioned about the most optimal way that you could run this deck, and I think that actually is almost mono red, or it is still red-yellow with the blue in there, but all your battle cards become red. So if you do have access to 4 copies of the Set 2 promo Vegeta, and you have access to 4 copies of Set 1 Goku, you can run the vanilla Goku in red. You do need to run another Vegeta, so your best bet there to do is just run a blue one or a green one, or just run another free-to-combo one. But on the very, very rare chance that you don't have the pieces ready to go, you have cards like the 3-drop Goku from Set 1. You can play that, 20k beats, returns back to your hand, which means you can still use it as a viable Potara target. You can use Vegeta, for example, if you do need to lay some beats down. These are really kind of, rare scenarios, and I think the red version of the deck is very marginal in terms of it actually being better, but also having the red energy allows you to hardcast things like the 5 and the 7-drop if you have to. Yes, you can charge a Potara extra card, and you normally end up charging one of the 7-drops anyway as energy once you get 1 or at least 2 in your bin. But it's just a way that it was a deck that we were, playing around with the idea of how to optimize the deck to its, maximum turn 2 or turn 3 kill potential. With the Objections, you're ramping far past the amount of energy that you should have anyway. Plus, with just the Encouraging Presence Monakas, for example, and the Awakening so early, you're seeing so much of your deck that you can actually roll the dice on, having a Goku, having Potara, but not having a Vegeta, because by the time you cast Encouraging Presence Monaka, you draw life, you awaken, you swing, you draw more cards. It's likely you actually draw into those cards. Now, this deck does require a little bit of maths on the fly. You do kind of need to keep track of the Gokus and Vegetas that you have, make sure that you've got the 7-drop and the 5-drop in the right areas, and you're targeting those correct areas with your extra cards. But like I said, the deck does allow you to dig through your life. And a lot of games, on turn 2 or turn 3, you actually are winning with 1 or 2 life left. You've used it for Sensu Bean, you've used it for Encouraging Presence, you've used Battering to counter one of their attacks. So don't be afraid, if you get down to 1 or 2 life and you think you've played it incorrectly, because we really are looking to use the maximum amount of resources from the deck. And sometimes those key cards are in our life as well. Sometimes the 5-drop, there's only 3 copies. A couple of them can be in your life. So you want to make sure you're getting those either into your hand so you can then get them into the drop area, and comboing with those cards early defensively is a great way to ensure those pieces are ready for use when you do want to activate Potara. So Guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, would love to hear your thoughts on this one. The deck is chaos. It is just the very, very definition of combo aggro, if that is a thing. It is now. When you kill your opponent on turn 2 with the 7-drop, obviously they're on 4 life, attacking for 5, combo your remaining Vegetas and Gokus in the bin, then 7-drop them. It is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Your opponent would literally have to cast no cards and keep up nothing but energy for Crusher Balls and Negates, and you have to run out of Bad Rings to stop the turn 2 kill. It happens every once in a while, but that's the time where your opponent, like, ironically draws into a bad hand that ends up saving them. But, yep, check out also the Vegeta video I put up yesterday as well. So if you want to play something that's probably just as fast, but maybe a little bit safer, and definitely doesn't require as much thinking as you play, check that video out. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this one. Subscribe if you're new. Check us out on Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching this one. Hopefully you have a lot of fun with it. My name is Coops. This is the whole box and dice. Thanks again, everyone. Peace.